We're going to be rationalizing the denominator, which means that we would usually see a fraction of the form a plus root b divided by c plus root d. And we would need to make the denominator a whole number. So let's work with the example 3 divided by 6 minus root 2. So the only way that we can rationalize the denominator, and I will be using the form that we see above, is if we multiply the denominator by c minus root d. Now, notice the similarity between our denominator and what we're multiplying by. It's exactly the same, except the sign is different. Now, this is the only way that we can make the denominator a whole number, and we'll go through the example to show you how it works. Now, we know that if we multiply the denominator by something, we have to multiply the numerator by the same thing. So we would multiply the numerator by c minus root d also. Now, let's use the example. So our denominator is 6 minus root 2, which means we would need to multiply the numerator and the denominator by 6 plus root 2. So again, it's exactly the same thing, but the sign is different. And so it would be 3 times 6 plus root 2 also. So let's simplify the numerator. Now, we would have 3 times 6 plus root 2. So first, 3 times 6 is 18, and 3 times root 2 is just 3 root 2. Now, let's simplify the denominator. The denominator is 6 minus root 2 times 6 plus root 2. Now, 6 times 6 is just 36. 6 times root 2 is just 6 root 2. Negative root 2 times 6 is minus 6 root 2, and minus root 2 times root 2 would become minus root 4. The reason this is because when we multiply two square roots together, we can multiply the numbers within one square root. So this becomes root 2 times root 2 would just become 2 times 2 under one square root, which is just root 4. And that's how we got minus root 4. So now let's simplify what we have. We know that 6 root 2 minus 6 root 2 just cancel out. And we know that root 4 is just 2, because 4 is a perfect square. So this just becomes 36 minus 2, which is just 34. So now if we put it back into the fraction, our numerator was 18 plus 3 root 2, and our denominator is now 34. And this is the most simplified form that we can have it in. So we're done.